The arrival. The rain hadn't stopped for 2 days when Alina arrived in Morning Hollow, a forgotten town nestled between two dying hills. Her car tires hissed over the wet gravel road as she followed the directions on the old paper map left behind by her late uncle. She was here to inspect the abandoned Blackthorn School, the one he had warned her to stay away from in his will. But curiosity had teeth, and something about the school clawed at her mind ever since the funeral. The school stood like a skeleton wrapped in fog. Windows boarded, the bell tower cracked. No power, no phone signal, but something about it felt awake. The classroom. Inside, the air smelled like mildew, chalk, and something metallic, maybe rust. Her flashlight cut through the darkness, revealing rows of ancient desks. A few were scratched with deep gouges, like someone had dug into the wood with nails. On the blackboard, fresh white chalk spelled 4 chilling words. The bell rings soon, but there was no one in the building. As Alina turned to leave the classroom, a soft tapping started behind her. She spun around. One of the desks was rocking slowly back and forth, as if someone had just stood up from it. The Hall of Hands. The hallways were lined with broken lockers and children's paintings that had rotted over time. But one painting stood out, untouched by decay. It showed a child with no face standing in front of the school bell, holding a sign that read, "Don't look at it." She moved closer, but as she did, her flashlight flickered. In that brief second of darkness, dozens of small child-sized handprints appeared on the walls around her. When the light returned, they were gone. Suddenly, the school bell above let out a single, dull clang. Time: 3:33 a.m. The library. She found the library hidden behind a false wall. Dust clouded the air, and most books were rotted beyond recognition. One book lay open on the table. It was her uncle's journal. "Whatever you do," it read, "never be here when the bell rings at 3:33. It doesn't call people. It chooses them." The clock above her ticked loudly. 3:17 a.m. Behind her, books started to fall from the shelves one by one. Not randomly, in a circle around her. The mirror room. Behind the library, Alina found a room with shattered mirrors covering every wall. Except one. One mirror was untouched, and inside it, her reflection smiled back, even though she wasn't smiling. She stepped closer. The reflection tilted its head the opposite way. Its mouth opened slowly, revealing rows of blackened teeth, and then it whispered, "You've already heard it." She backed away. Her heart pounded like thunder. The clock ticked on. 3:25 a.m. The basement trapdoor. She rushed down the stairs and found a trapdoor she hadn't noticed before. It creaked open slowly on its own. From below came the sound of soft humming. A child's voice, off tune and wrong. The stairs groaned beneath her weight. The air down there was colder, thicker. The flashlight flickered again. Something brushed past her leg. When the light returned, she wasn't alone. Tiny figures with sewn eyes and twisted limbs stood silently in a corner. All of them stared toward the far end of the room, where the bell rope hung loose. 3:31 a.m. The bell tower. Something called her to the tower, a compulsion in her bones. She climbed the rusted ladder, every step creaking like a warning. At the top, the bell hung suspended in darkness, but beside it stood a figure. It wore an old-school uniform, soaked and dark. Its face was a blur of shifting features, like 1,000 students' expressions stitched together. In its hand, a rope. It turned toward her and whispered, "We ring it for you." The bell began to swing. The ringing, 3:33 a.m. The bell screamed. The sound wasn't a sound at all. It was a memory, a nightmare, a scream of everything she feared. Her childhood, her uncle's warnings, the deaths that had happened here. All of it surged into her at once. Her ears bled. The world tilted. The windows of the school blew open. All the figures from the basement marched upward, crawling, jerking, and humming. They were coming for her, but she couldn't move. The silence after. She awoke to silence. Dust floated in the still air. The bell had stopped. The tower was empty. So was the school. She staggered outside, the morning sun breaking over the hills. The fog had lifted. But as she reached her car, she paused. The clock on the dash read 3:33 a.m. The school bell rang behind her once more. Only this time, it didn't stop.